Today I'm going over what I think the worst and best things are about every Skylanders game. Not many negative things can be said about SSA, but one that comes to mind is it really didn't stand the test of time. Skylanders graphics simply got better every year, and for example, switching from Swap Force to Spyro's Adventure is a massive difference. And playing the game for hours on end can be a pain to your eyes. It's safe to say SSA has the best and most memorable roster out of all the games. This is partially because simplicity is key, and since there isn't a gimmick except for Toys to Life itself, every Skylander feels important. In later games, it doesn't even seem worth it to use core Skylanders because gimmick Skylanders are superior in their respective games. Giants was kinda rushed compared to later games due to the fact that Toys for Bob only had 1 year to work on it. After Giants, Skylanders continued coming out on a yearly basis, but Toys for Bob and Vicarious Visions went back and forth and each had 2 years to develop their game. This doesn't whatsoever make Giants a bad game, just more of a DLC to SSA than anything. Skylanders Giants has without a doubt the best and most unique levels out of the series. It's so easy to binge and play half of Giants in one day because of levels like Willikin Village. The idea of warping between 2 dimensions to make it through a level is so cool, and is part of the reason people love Giants so much. Probably the take that the most people can agree with on this video is that the levels in Swap Force are way too lengthy. And tough luck if you find a level boring because you'll have to play at least 40 to 50 straight minutes of it. This is pretty much the same thing as Nintendo making you play an entire Mario world from start to finish and not allowing you to save when you want. I will give props to Vicarious Visions for improving on the longer level concept with Superchargers. At least the levels in Superchargers are split up into 4 chapters, giving you more stopping points throughout. Swap Force has the coolest gimmick I've ever seen from a Skylanders game. Being able to swap the top and bottom half of 2 Skylanders is definitely part of what caused Swap Force to sell 6 million copies. A lot of people see Swap Force as the peak of Skylanders and that it only went downhill from here. While I don't agree, I can definitely see why people think so. Easily the worst part about Trap Team is that there's just way too much to collect. If you want to own everything from Trap Team, you have to buy 18 Trap Masters, 23 core Skylanders, 16 minis, 59 traps, 4 adventure pack levels, and 4 magic items. If you're only looking to 100% complete the game, you certainly don't need everything, but there's still a massive price tag compared to previous games. And another bad part about Trap Team is that it started a trend of future Skylanders games needing too much to complete that never really went away. I'd say this is expected from a game about trapping villains and playing as them, but Trap Team has by far some of the best boss fights in the Skylanders series. There's a reason that people complain about how difficult Nightmare Chaos was. And speaking of Chaos, it was actually nice to have a main villain that wasn't him. In fact, we had a whole team of them. The Doom Raiders consistently put up a good challenge, and it's not like there's only a couple boss fights in the game, it's more like every other level. Superchargers might have many flaws, but there is one that stands out the most. That being the vehicle sections. I actually don't mind vehicles as a gimmick, but the fact that half of the bosses and a majority of the levels have forced land vehicle sections is insane. Trap Team doesn't force you to use traps, and Swap Force doesn't force you to use the swappers. This problem could have been easily avoided had they left out Instant Hot Streak. Skylanders Superchargers easily has the best story in the entire series. This game actually made it feel like Skylands was under a serious threat for once. After every level, the fight against Chaos just built up more and more, just for you to defeat him, and the darkness was the final boss. One of the craziest fake-outs in gaming history. Skylanders Imaginators is personally my least favorite out of all the Skylanders games for mainly one reason. It is the least Skylanders feeling Skylanders game, and completely destroyed everything previously built up. Skylanders never had an ongoing storyline, but at least every game still felt connected. The main NPCs throughout the game are Skylanders instead of the main cast we know and love for the most part. To me, the entire game just seemed like an ad for Skylanders Academy. For an overall mid-game, I really enjoyed the attention to detail in the Sensei figurines. The Senseis are more of a collectible than just something you play as. and are the type of thing you would put on a shelf to show everybody how cool it is. Some noticeable senseis are Chain Reaction, Flare Wolf, and Taekwon Crow. This sort of contradicts what I said earlier about the games becoming expensive, but I think without creation crystals, senseis sold for a totally reasonable price back then.